This is the 2025 Brewtubers Online Brewers Club Malt Experiment, Amber Ale. Thanks to our sponsors. 5 Star Chemicals. Check out their new online straight-to-consumer homebrew shop where you can buy everything from Star San and line cleaner to the new liquid PBW that can be used at temperatures as low as 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Check out their online store at 5starchemicals.com/home-brewing. Beer and Wine Hobby Homebrew Supply Store. A local homebrew shop in Danvers, Massachusetts. Order any malt they offer in any quantity you want, and if you order before 11 a.m., they'll package your items and ship out the very same day. Visit the store at www.beer-wine.com. Let's get tasting.
All right. Hello, YouTube and Brewtubers out there, homebrewers, everyone else in between. Welcome back to my next installment of the Brewtubers 2025 Specialty Malt Experiment. If this is the first video you're seeing, again, a bunch of us club members in the Brewtubers Club, we all brewed the same recipe, same amber ale recipe that Exit 12 Nick and I came up with, and we brewed it. We came up with the recipe, and we gave a lot of leeway. It is just barely an amber ale as far as the BJCP stats go. So all the club members can come in, choose a specialty malt that they love, that they like, that they want to share with everybody, and added it to the recipe. And they have a lot of leeway to add a little or a lot, and there will still be another amber ale that's reminiscent of a beer that everybody else brewed. So again, in this case, this is my 5th review. Right now I am brewing the beer from our new breaking news, our new Brewtubers Club ambassador starting in 2026. He was just nominated and elected. Gam Dude Brewing right here on his can. So he brewed this recipe, and he used one of my favorite malts, which if it was my traditional house amber ale recipe, is definitely a malt I use in it. We didn't put it in our amber ale recipe for the experiment, of course, but he's using Melanoidin malt from Weyermann. So this is a malt that I love to add to my amber ales. Either this or the aromatic malt from Brice. They're both fairly similar idea. Again, the idea with this malt is you can add it to your beers. You will get sort of a decocted mash type character in your beer without having to do a decoction mash. You know, especially since traditionally American amber ales are infusion mashed. It's a great place to add it into an amber ale when you're trying to push those malty flavors that the Melanoidin malt would look to enhance. Again, they say that Weyermann says that Melanoidin gives the colors intensified and receives a dark shine. I don't know. But again, the beer is probably spinning right over my shoulder right now. So you can get a better view of the can, but the stats for this beer, it is a 4.5% ABV beer at 35 IBUs with an OG of 1046 and a final gravity of 1012. In this recipe, Billy used 4.6% of Melanoidin malt, which on a 5, if this recipe is scaled to a 5-6 gallon recipe, is probably about 8 ounces, right? I know he usually brews 10 gallon batches, so this is, kind of on that scale. Let's open it up and take a look. Oh, and the base recipe, if I haven't thrown it up over here over my mess, I'll do it now so you can get a sense of what it is. It's been out there and shared, so you can get an idea of what the rest of this beer is like. So let's open this beer up. And nice, I tried to warm the can up. I did get a nice hiss and a little bit of foam right from the top of the can. So let's pour this in a little aggressively and see what we got here. All right. Nice, huge stand. It's, again, there's a slight haze to the beer. I am using the tulip glass here. You know, again, there is a slight haziness to it. I don't know if you'd call it a chill haze necessarily, but there is a slight haze, or it could be just the fact that we're not dealing with a you know, a clear yellow beer. There is a bit of a definitely an amber hue here. It is kind of on the lower end of the amber ale range. It might look similar to some of the other beers that I've reviewed on camera, but is definitely lighter than, say, for instance, I just done Underground Breweries, and again, this is a different glass, but his is definitely a bit darker, even though this glass is kind of a little, you know, a little frosted, so to speak. But you know, his foam is a little bit darker as well. So this is definitely a nice, thick, rocky, gorgeous looking foam on this beer that is off white, less towards a tan or ivory. It's definitely an off white color here, and the beer is definitely in the, again, saying definitely a lot here, but it is in the kind of more light amber orange-ish hue as things go. Oh, yeah, right. So if I go in for a sniff here, so yeah, it's really, you know, what I would consider biscuit, you know, very strong, toasty biscuits. I know typically the biscuit that they're trying to think of somewhere, again, the word biscuit gets somewhat misused because the biscuit kind of comes from, the biscuit descriptor comes from England, I think, and it's kind of not really what we would think of as a biscuit, which in some cases might be almost a saltine. No, that's a cracker, but yeah. Oh, I love that. I could definitely smell the rich melanoidin coming out here. The real, you know, like the toasted flavor that come, or the aroma that's coming through with the melanoidin malt. Again, when my beer, I didn't basically add a variable. I just add the Cinnamar coloring, which supposedly doesn't add much to it. It definitely added a little bit, but that was definitely missing in the amber ales that I enjoy. Yeah. Oh, and again, there is that kind of like a candied type character to it as well. You know, kind of like a what are we going from here? Like a almost like a this might sound a little bad, but almost like a, not like a maple syrup, but almost like the you know, kind of the generic Aunt Jemima's, there's not Aunt Jemima anymore, Pearl Milling kind of breakfast syrup. No, I wouldn't say it's that one. I'm probably thinking more on the version that Cracker Barrel has. If you ever go to a Cracker Barrel and have their kind of pancake syrup, I think they do a great job. There's a little bit of maple syrup in it, I think, and then there's just kind of like a almost like an inverted sugar, maybe that's part of it as well. That's definitely the kind of character I'm getting from this, on top of the, you know, like the bready malts that are in here, and you know, some subtle toast. Not really getting much in the way of of any of the hop character. I don't know. Again, this recipe is not hop forward, so the malt is really going to come in and beat the heck out of any hops that are added here as far as aroma or flavor goes. Yeah, that smells fantastic. And I just spilled a bunch of beer all over my shirt, right? Because as I swirl it around, right? Anyway, coming back here after a slight little cleanup. Yeah, I am getting underneath now as I go in again and we get more things warm up more. I definitely can smell the Munich underneath here as well. That kind of really rich caramelized sugar, caramel type aroma, subtle toffee. But yeah, there's just a lot going on here malt wise, and it is fantastic. This is great. Oh boy. Now after I took a sip and I got my nose in there again, I definitely get a little subtle little bit of a ester from it. Um, Yeah, definitely as well. His is set at 35 IBU. That is definitely in here, and really adding the mouthful is like, a medium light mouthfeel. A medium, again, when we're looking at the scale from light to full, it's more on the medium end. Again, not medium, kind of a lighter mouthfeel. It's not, there's nothing in here that's really insipid or watery. But again, it's really, it's kind of nice letting the malt shine. And then right at the end, there's a little extra oomph of bitterness that comes in and really kind of does a palate cleanser in here. That's really making this really crazy drinkable. Really like this. Yeah, it's again more of like the toasted biscuit. Again, the other beers that I've kind of talked about, and again, I'm getting some of the character here that in like the best Oktoberfest, the best Marzens I like. There's a little bit of Munich in here, but like a good Marzen that I really like. There is some Munich malt in there, but it doesn't become the star of the show. Again, there's a little bit of Munich malt in underneath here. A great bit of the toasted biscuit in here. Again, I keep going back to that. And again, some caramelized sugar in here as well. All the flavors are working well. We have the little bitterness in here to really clean this up at the end of your sip and make make this into a great sipper. Make me want to come back and drink more. Fantastic job. And again, and this is why, I think Melanoidin malt is great. I don't know if you took this same recipe and decocted it and tried it out, if we'd get a good or better flavor. But again, there's a great deal of kind of overall malt complexity that's added to this, I assume, from the Melanoidin malt that's really making this great. And again, kind of a little bit of I guess, a brewer's choice. His IBUs are a little bit higher than some of the others. Again, it's 2 or 3 IBUs. But again, there's probably a little bit more hopping there. The ABV is a little bit less, but it is making the finish just that touch more drier, so that it's just a great beer to drink. Very drinkable, washes off the palate, and is just there to make you ready for more. Yeah, great job. Fantastic job, Billy. Really like this. And all right, so back to the rankings. So again, this is interesting. It seems like every time I try another beer, I like it better than the rest. Right now, my rankings are in the exact opposite order of the way I've tried them. So again, this I'd put Billy's beer here at the top of the rankings now. He is the 5th beer, so there's 5 beers I'm ranking. This would be at the top so far. Melanoidin malt works fantastic in an amber. Again, might be a little biased because, again, my own amber ale recipes, I definitely use Melanoidin malt or aromatic malt from Brice. It's like one of my pillars of a recipe, but again, left out of this amber ale recipe for the experiment because, again, we wanted to have variables for people to play with. But yeah, Billy's number 1. Number 2 is Underground Brewery, Drew, with his Griffin malt. Number 3 is, Hattie Bruce with his Ashburn mild malt. And then next would be, I keep wanting to say Crockett Taxidermy, that's his business, but Hunt Brewing's beer is 4th, and then mine with the Cinnamar edition is rounding at the bottom at number 5. So let's wrap it up there. Quick shout out to Beer and Wine Hobby and 5 Star Chemicals for sponsoring the club and making these experiments and making us have a functioning club where we can do these fun things. Again, sponsorship money contributed to shipping these beers out halfway, right? There's a lot of beer that was shipped around, and a lot of people got to partake in this experiment for us to learn more about these malts and to then share our experiences, what we think with everyone else, right? So we'll leave it there. So cheers until the next time.